everybody, and welcome to It's Okay to Be Okay. I'm Jen. I'm with Chrystal and Melissa, and we have a very special guest. Melissa, I'm going to let you hop in, introduce, and then we will move on. Go from there.
Hi, everyone. So today I have one of my dearest and bestest friends, Shona, with me today. And basically, obviously, I am best friends with Shona. So sometimes I'm too close. And I thought this would be an amazing opportunity to bring Shona on the show and talk about those buts. Like, yeah, I understand, but, and I thought, bring her on. So here she is.
I've got a lot of butts.
She's got a lot of butts, a lot of resistance. And so I thought this would be a perfect, and I know that some of our listeners have resistance as well. So I thought bringing someone on that has that resistance would be an amazing. And I thought, Chrystal, your story about the past and how you come about through principles, I thought would be really beneficial for Shona.
Okay.
So I'm going to hop in here for a second then. And I am going to give you a brief overview of Chrystal and her story and the principles. One of the key things I love to tell people is I wasn't searching. I wasn't looking to make myself a better person. And let me tell you, I wasn't your ideal person. I was mean. I was argumentative. I was just not nice to be around. In 2019 was like the hardest year of my life. In February of 2019, I went to the emergency room to discover that I had had a heart attack at some point, and I didn't know it, and it left minor damage to my heart. That put me in like this massive state of fear, and I lived there. On top of now, the angry person, the person that would just fly off the handle, the person that, oh my God, if something happened, it was holy crap, the end of the world, so dramatic, just ridiculous. And about 6 months later, I was on an annual vacation that I'm always on with my sister and two of my beautiful cousins that I love so much. And the last night of my vacation, my mom comes to wake me up. Yeah, we were at my mom's place in Florida. She crashed that vacation, by the way. She wasn't supposed to be there. Anyway, she comes in to wake me up because my phone's on silent. And I get woke up to the call that no parent ever wants. And it was that my stepson, Braden, who I had raised from the time he was 3 years old, and at this point he's 16, that he had been in a car accident and that he was airlifted to a hospital because he was in that critical of condition. So I made a phone call and got on the phone with his biological mother, and she was very calm, and I was freaking out. I was listening to her tell me what happened and what was wrong. What were the doctors saying? They were operating on him. Um, with my nursing background, she threw in a couple of keywords there, and ooh, it wasn't good. I knew that wasn't good. They operated on my son for pretty close to 5 hours before I got the real phone call that nobody ever wants to get. No parent ever wants to get. He didn't make it. He didn't make it through surgery. And from there, I had to call my other children. Well, actually, I had called them to let them know their brother was in an accident. My husband, it was just, you see in the movies a lot where people drop to their knees. That is it. When I received the news that my son didn't make it, my feet fell out from under me. I was on my mom's kitchen floor crying and screaming and not believing it. Like, how could this happen? This doesn't happen. And I lived in grief. I lived in grief for a while. It's a process. Grieving is a process. And I want everybody to understand that. It's a natural process that when we lose someone that we love and is very dear to us, whether that's a child or a parent or a sibling or a best friend, there is a natural process that your body needs to go through. And it looks different for everybody. And that was one of the things that I found really interesting is not only did I experience my grieving, but I got to see 4 other versions, my husband's and my 3 other children, and they all looked different. Naturally, the grieving process did what it was supposed to do in time. It took about a year before our life became somewhat recognizable again. And then I stumbled upon these courses. And I was in this one called the Ultimate Coach program with David Key. And people were talking about, and I didn't go to this, first of all, I did not go to this course because I was like, oh, I need to help myself and fix myself. I had a shitty job that I hated. And I didn't want to do that shitty job anymore. And I thought, ooh, being a life coach sounds fun. So I was on this course and we were on a live call and everybody was talking about the past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. All we ever have is the now. And I'm watching these comments on the side. And honestly, I'm getting pissed off. And how can these people say these things about the past not existing? Because that was something I was still working out logically. It was kind of a block, so to speak, in my head. And when that call was finished, I remember emailing our teacher and I said, I get the future thing, man. It hasn't happened yet. I get that part, but you can't tell me the past doesn't exist because when you say that, I'm hearing you're telling me my son didn't exist, and I know most certainly he existed. And so our teacher very graciously asked to speak to it on the next live call. And I was, yeah, please do, because I want to hear what you have to say. And he did. And I don't know what it is that he said, but for whatever reason, I dropped my logical, intellectual of the past not existing because it's true. It's in the past. We can't go back. If we could, I would have gone back and done stuff differently. It's just not a possibility. It's gone. What we do have is memories, memories we carry through time into the present, into the now, into the moment we only ever have. Shortly after he talked about that, I remember having a quiet moment to myself. And this is before I had any shift because I really think that was a mental block that had to be removed. And shortly after that, I remember I was sitting there and for whatever reason, Sydney Banks, something that I had read came to my head. And it was literally almost like hearing Sydney Banks say to me, hey, Chrystal, you know what? Your son still exists. He's just in the formless. He's no longer in the form. And I got goosebumps. And I knew that to be true. Like when I felt that, because yes, I heard it, but it was a feeling. It was like all of that thought I had about the past and my son not existing was just went away. And I realized, yeah, no, he is. The essence of who he is with me every single day, no matter where I go. And from there, once that was removed, magical stuff happened. And that's what I say, magical, because my whole life changed shortly thereafter from a video. And I don't know what I heard or what I saw or whatever. It doesn't matter. But it shifted my whole perspective and my whole world and everything around me was like seeing it for the very first time. Like I had been living the past 40 something years in this dream, in this chase, in this like just nightmare most of the time. And it was gone. Everything was beautiful. I don't even care if it was like concrete with dirt on it that I was looking at. It was beautiful. It was like I'd never seen it before in my life. And yeah, that's my big moment of where everything changed and things did dissipate. Things did fall away. Chrystal, without effort, was no longer this dramatic, everything is the biggest catastrophe you could ever think of. And oh my God, I'm going to freak out on everybody with no effort at all. It dissipated and it fell away. And that was almost 4 years ago. And it has been, not to say that shit doesn't happen, shit happens. But life is different. Life is beautiful. I am life living itself, like Jen says. That is exactly what is going on. And from here, the view is so much better. It doesn't matter what kind of bullshit's going on out there. Because in here, everything is calm. Everything is peaceful. Even on my shitty days, things are still wonderful. It's all on how we look at it. And so, yeah, that I'm going to stop talking now that we can hear some of Shona, what's going on, and any buts you might have. And
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on in your head right now?
Well, I had a thought while you was talking that he still exists, but not in spiritual form here now, and that you carry him with you into the present. But I also carry all of my trauma with me here into the present, and there's no, like, it's not here and it's not happening now, but that is all that's shaped me. So it is still right at the back here, just in a massive dusty old box being dragged about. And I don't really know how to put that down.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like, really quick, I'll say something and then I'll let you guys. I get it. I get it because for a very long time, especially with my son's accident, I carried that. It was right here. It was right here. It was right here. It was everywhere. It was everywhere. How could this happen? How did this? Why? He was such a sweet soul. How does that happen to somebody so beautiful? How is his life done at 16 years old? I'm a Christian, okay? I believe in God. I was pissed at God, mad. Even though in the way I was raised in my Christian background, everything happens for a reason. But I was still mad because I wanted to know that reason. So I get it when you say, I carried that too. I carried it for years and years and years until I realized I was carrying the wrong part. I was carrying the tragedy. I was carrying the what if. I was
Yeah.
carrying the I should have, I
Yeah.
would have, could have,
Yeah.
instead of just carrying the beautiful, the memories of my son that are just, nobody can take that away. No matter what. And just, yes, his essence, he's formless. That's all. He's formless. I can't physically see him, but I know he's around. He lets us know. So my point there was, it's so innocent. We all do it. We all do it. We carry the negative part. I
Mm.
don't know why that's where we go, but that is where we go. And we want to hold it and we want to grab it because it explains, well, this is why I'm the way I am. This is
Okay.
why I'm upset. This is why I'm angry. This is why I'm depressed. This is why I'm anxious. Any of those things. Because when we let go of those, then who are we?
Yeah. Who are you? Yeah.
When we identify with the trauma. That's who I am. This happened and I am who I am because of this. I get that. it started with childhood trauma, and then I turned to drugs and was in the crazy meth underworld for the better part of 20 years, which brought its own trauma and bipolar. And I was in a constant battle every day, all day, at my boiling point, just on a battlefield. I would
That's
wake up and it would be like, you're not good enough. Why are you trying? Nobody will love you. It every day. And I was medicated and I still was struggling every day. I identified with it. I identified as bipolar. I identified as an addict. That's who I was. Until I realized that those are thoughts. Like, the trauma happened, that never ending battle was going on, but I spent so much time and energy fighting that battle. Every bad thought come in and I'd have to try to attack it, and then I'd get attacked by more negative, and it was a never ending battle. And some days it was all I could do to just get up out of bed and make it to work. Wasn't doing my job all the way what I should have, because there was noises and people behind me, and it just triggered me, and it was hard. It was hard to go to the store. It was hard to, and then I started learning this. And when those thoughts would come, I stopped battling them, and not going to say I allowed them, but I just noticed them. I started looking at the philosophy of it, the way thought works, that it's constantly flowing, and that only does it stay when we grab onto it and feed it. And we feed it by attacking it, by engaging with it, by trying to avoid it. Doing all of those things is actually feeding that thought and that feeling of that hopelessness and that constant boiling point where if you look at me wrong, I just might cry because I just can't take it right now. And as I started to notice them as thoughts, right? Just notice that, okay, what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing right now is coming from thoughts I am having in the moment. And I don't have to be aware of what those thoughts are. I don't have to dig and try to figure out which thought is making me feel this way. I just have the feeling, and it's like, okay, this is coming from my thinking in the moment. And if I don't feed it, it'll pass. And so I started stepping into that tiny little space. And at first it was constantly all day long. Like, I didn't even realize when I was in my head, because I was so used to my head being so loud and going, that I had to start noticing when I tense my shoulders, when I had to start noticing it in my body. And I wouldn't go to my thinking because that just got me in my head more. I would go to relaxing my body. Whatever I felt I was tensing up or scrunching, or, I had to notice the physical first. And when I would let go of that, my mind would have space. Okay. And then I focused on like not thinking or whatever. So I hummed a lot, because you can't think when you hum. I mean, you can, but it takes a lot of effort. Okay. So I would just start humming. Like, when I would notice myself, I would start humming and trying to ground myself to be in the moment. These are all techniques. You don't have to have techniques. You find what helps you come back into the moment. Because every time you notice that it's there, and like I said, it would be 20, 30 times a day in just a few hours for me.
Yeah.
And it was so uncomfortable to be in that quiet that I could only drop it for like this much. And then I would slowly start to get back in my head, but it would be in better thoughts.
Okay.
And then when I'd find I was in uncomfortable or frustrated, or then I would relax my body. I would jump around. I couldn't start with my thinking first because my thinking was so loud and so constant that at the time that was my safe space. That's who I thought I was. And even though I
Yeah.
didn't like it, it's who I thought I was.
Yeah.
And so it took me a long time of just that tiny little noticing and dropping it 20, 40, 100 times every day. But every single time I would see, oh, this is from my thinking in the moment, and then release. It every time those same old patterns that used to just dig me into the dirt would come up, because they still came up. Well, they wouldn't be quite as loud and they wouldn't be quite as intense. They would get sneaky and try to show up in a different way to get me caught up. Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, for me, I had to notice in my body first. I had to notice the feelings first, because the noise in my head was a constant. So
Yeah.
much so that I didn't realize it was even going, because it was just so fast, so busy, so going all the time. And I would just notice when the different versions of myself that weren't always in control would take control. And it's like, ooh, that was a bad choice. Ooh, that's not a good thought. But it was a process, and I tested it because I didn't trust anybody when they told me, oh, your problems will just fall away. I was like, oh, you're so full of shit. Bullshit. No. So it started with little trust steps for me, because that was the only way I could do it. And within a year of I'm not on my meds anymore.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not struggling like that anymore. You know, last week there was a night I couldn't sleep, and I noticed it, and I called it. I'm like, ooh, I would be in a manic episode right now. And I could feel the noise and the rumble of the river, but I didn't engage with it. Every once in a while, I would find that, yeah, I had got my little floaty and hopped on that river trying to go down the rapids with like a little turtle floaty or something, you know? But then I would remember, oh, I can walk this part. It's going to go on, but I don't have to engage with it, and I don't have to withstand it. I can pretty much ignore it, not engage with it. Like, I know that movie that I'm playing in my head because I've played it all my life.
Mm.
But now it's just a movie playing, and it's not a role I am in. I don't know if that makes sense, but like
Yeah.
my first insight was, I am not my crazy. And it was the first time that I got to see that I got to disidentify with all of that thinking that I thought was me, that I thought I had fragmented off. And over the year, like that first year, it's like I slowly did it, and slowly my versions merged into each other. And it wasn't until I only had the one version that thought it was me, and not 6 or 7 versions that thought they were me when I got off my meds. Like, I don't know that I would have ever been able to do it without being on the meds. And I'm not against meds at all. Like when we need meds, we need meds. But I know when I was on the meds, I still struggled. And I do not struggle anywhere like I do now, not being on the meds, just remembering thought is transient. Our thinking in the moment creates the experience we're feeling in the moment. And if we don't like the experience we're feeling in the moment, understand it's coming from inside. And if we just take that pause, take that deep breath, don't fight it, don't engage with it. I think of those loud thoughts as like bullies on the schoolyard. If you don't engage, they get bored and go away.
I have real difficulty with that, actually. Like your description there was perfect. I would never have been able to articulate that, but that describes me to a T. And actually, your coping mechanisms isn't something I've tried. The physical, rather than trying to stop thinking about it and get yourself busy and all of this. That none of that works for me at all. But I haven't tried that, so
Just
I'm going to try that.
pull your attention from your thinking.
Yeah.
And like I follow Eckhart Tolle, he talks about the inner body. And so like at first when I would find myself scrunching, I would go to the breathing or the heartbeat and in ground and allow it to go through. Because if we don't engage with it, takes like 90 seconds, I think. 90 seconds for that feeling to travel through your body and then move on.
Any other questions? What else are you struggling with right now that you feel like you get some help?
God, there's loads. Like being able to drop the thoughts, that's really not easy to do, because as you say, like that constant barrage in your head, even though you're right, I'm going to go and do this, right, I'm going to go and exercise, I'm going to stop thinking about it, you're thinking about not thinking about it. And that is, I can't find a way that takes me out.
I just had an insight about this within the last week or two because I spent so long thinking about not thinking and trying to find the how to drop a thought.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound really, really weird and really kind of whatever, but stop thinking about dropping the thought or how to get out of it and
Yeah.
turn your attention to how thought works, which is it's constantly flowing. It's constantly moving. When we start to, I had to turn the opposite direction and look at how thought works in order to be able to drop the thought. I couldn't think about how to get out of the thought because I kept myself stuck there for a long time.
Yeah.
But when I turned my direction of where I was looking at to how thought works, the fact that our personal thinking is constantly flowing. So again, if you don't grab onto it, which means don't think about how to drop the thought, 90 seconds for those rapids to move past. And we are connected. We're connected to mind, universal mind, which is the intelligence of all things. We are life itself. We are made to move to higher ground, to find a way. So when I switched my focus from how do I get out of this thought to thoughts constantly flowing, and I am something that will always move up if I allow it to, then I'm putting my attention in my faith in how the mind works instead of how to interfere with how the mind works.
Another one for you then.
Yep.
As soon as you're so helpful. I will often, I'm not awake, I'm asleep, but I will actually wake myself up with this constant barrage. Is that
Yes.
Makes sense. How, and then that I know I've setting off for a really bad day. Because
Yes.
it's woken me up in this, and usually about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then that's it. You're done.
Okay, so you wake up from the thinking and it's already torturing you. I know
Yeah.
I know that so well. And then it's like, well, then we grab onto that thought and then we allow it to multiply with now my day's shot now. And it just gets heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
And with that, with those, and I like I said, just last week, I was up all night, couldn't think, all of it. But it wasn't tortured.
Mm.
And I looked at it as what is my body trying to tell me? What is my mind trying to tell me? So I got curious about what, and that's when I was like, oh, it's telling me I would be in a manic high, because just because I'm not taking my meds, it doesn't mean I'm not bipolar. Like, it doesn't change it. It just means now I understand how the mind works and I don't get caught up when it pulls these tricks on me.
Mm.
And so get curious about what message you're trying to, like, what is it that I knew the other day I was stressing for financial reasons, you know, and it's like, okay, but then I knew that if I just sat, see, as soon as we label it and put, I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping around here. So when we wake up and we feel tortured, and then we start adding the thoughts of, well, now my day's shit and this is, then we're making ourselves heavier and heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's all from thinking, our personal thinking, that because when we're in a low mood and we grab onto a thought, it's going to multiply.
Yeah.
And low mood thinking is heavy,
Yeah.
especially when we take it serious. We're meant to go in low moods. We're meant to have that low. And when we take it serious, then we're in a battlefield. Then we're in this fight for our life. But even on those days, if you take a nap in the day, do you feel better?
I have real trouble going to sleep, actually. So sometimes I can. And sometimes it's great and you wake up feeling brilliant, and then other times it's not better, it's probably worse because you've napped, you now feel dreadful. I also feel guilty because I haven't done what I should have done. Yeah, it can be a right vicious circle.
Yes. And do you see how all these thoughts, the guilt, I shouldn't have done that. Now I wasted the day. What the hell? Now what am I going to get done? Why is this happening? Why can't I just fucking sleep? What the fuck? And it
Yeah.
start noticing it as a thought. Like, it sounds so serious, but ask yourself, what if these thoughts really are, like, what if this feeling really is coming from thoughts in the moment?
Yeah.
And what if I don't have to believe these thoughts? Pretty much all we're trying to do is, when we're in that, it's like we're in the storm just getting blown about, right?
Yeah.
Understanding the principles, all it helps you do is take a step back and see a bigger picture. See that this dip in a low mood, it's not forever,
Yeah.
because we are made to go up and down. Understanding the three principles doesn't take that away. I heard George Pransky the other day say that this understanding allows you to go through the lows gracefully and the highs gratefully. And it's just all in the noticing. As we start to notice, really see, holy shit, this is thinking, this is
Yeah.
thought. Then it starts to unbuckle. Your hardest job is being willing to see thought for what it is. Once you open up and are willing to look at the possibility of what if, things start to just happen.
So I'm going to talk for a second if nobody minds. Because there's one thing that I want to point out to you. That you said it yourself. When you wake up, if you get some sleep, automatically it starts.
Mm.
And the thoughts start pouring in and it's setting your mood for the day. I want to point something to you. The awareness right there that you see, here we go again,
Yeah.
pointing you to, hey, your thinking is a little bit too fast. It's a little bit too much. There's like too many stories playing in the head right now. And with all those stories, like there's not that space, a space for a breath, a space for a calm and clarity. And while, yes, Jen has her ways of doing things were a little bit different for me. Because, yeah, you know what? When I got the glimpse, when I got to see, things did dissipate. Now, when a thought would come in that was like absurd or not a nice thought, I just pretty much laughed at it. End of story. I didn't grab it, didn't think, well, why did that thought come in my head? That thought shouldn't be coming in my head because I'm not that person anymore. Why would I think that? No. It really can be effortless, completely effortless. It's just once you get a little glimpse that what we're pointing to, like Jen said, a little curious, what if? What if this really is true? What if these thoughts, these feelings, they're coming from me? What if I am making up these stories in my head? I'm not saying circumstances externally didn't happen at one point in time. I'm saying, what if I'm keeping that story alive? What if I just keep replaying that story every day? I'm going to give another story that I have not shared before. And this is way, way before. You love those, don't you, Melissa? This is way before I came to the principles. This was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. We just years ago. Trying not to age myself. A couple decades ago, probably. So I was labeled with general anxiety disorder and panic disorder. And I had panic attacks. Even with medication, still had panic attacks. My biggest fear always, don't know why, that played in my head all the time was, what if this happens when I'm driving? Oh my God, what if I go into a full-blown panic attack while I'm driving and I injure somebody? Because, panic attacks are very scary. You truly believe in that moment that you're dying, that this is it. This is the end. Well, my worst nightmare came true. Not only did it come true, but it came true as I was driving across a massive bridge over a huge river where I live. And as if the panic attack wasn't enough, now I'm in this scenario over here too, playing, holy shit, I'm on a bridge. What if I go off? That's the end of me. It was so in the moment. It was very, very scary. I was terrified. And to just get my foot was shaking uncontrollably on the gas. My hands trying to hold on to the steering wheel were seriously like, it was crazy. when I did get to a safe space where I could pull over, stop, I was shook to my core because my worst nightmare at that time, right, came true. I didn't hurt anybody, but it happened. So then what happened was my thoughts took over for the next year and a half. For a year and a half, I did not drive a car. I'd already been driving for over 15 years of my life. I wouldn't even drive down the road. My sister lived less than a mile from me, and I would not drive to her house. Anytime I would get in that car or think that I was going to get in that car, here came the story. And even if I was telling myself, Chrystal, you can do this. You've done this thousands upon thousands of times. That's feeding it. That's feeding the fear right there. That was feeding that panic. That was feeding that anxiety. And I would just like, can't do it. It would start, the feeling inside of me would start coming up, the anxious thoughts. I'd start feeling them. And here's how I got out of it. And like I said, this is way before I know anything about the principles. I stopped listening to the bullshit. I stopped even saying to myself, you can do it. You can do it. Because that is literally, like Jen was saying at one point, even if it's in a positive way, we're still feeding that negative scenario, that negative thought, that negative experience. And we're bringing it to life and we're bringing it to the now. And so, yeah, I stopped believing the bullshit. And I started driving again. And I mean, I drive all the time now, and I don't get in my car and ever worry, ooh, is that going to happen again? Nope, not at all. I don't worry about it. So the difference is how I think about it, or really and honestly, the lack thereof. I don't think about it. And it's not because I stop myself. It's not because, or you know what, even if, let's just say, even if the thought would come to my head, ooh, remember that time? I'd be like, ridiculous. That's how easily I do dismiss a thought. I just, ridiculous, bizarre, silly, whatever, not buying it. And it's gone. And it's kind of like one of the things I like to say about it. It's kind of like feeding a stray animal, cat, dog, whatever. But you know, when you see that cute little stray and it's always around, you feel bad for it, you know, because it's familiar and it's around and oh my gosh, let's just put out a little bit of food so it doesn't starve to death. Just a little bit, you know, I just wanted to get a little and then it comes back again. We'll call it a dog. The dog comes back again the next day looking for its food. And you see it and oh, you're compassionate and you care in your soul. That's the essence of who we are. We put out the food again. And before we know it, that dog is there every single day. And we're feeding that dog every single day. And in that dog's mind, well, this is where I live. This is my place. This is where I get fed. This is my house. And it stays. It's kind of what we do to our thinking. We feed it just a little bit. Ooh, just a little bit more. Little bit more. And it becomes so big and it takes over so much that we are like, we believe that it lives there too. That is my cute little dog. Look at this cute little dog. Now I have this cute little dog and it lives with me and I take care of it and I feed it. If we just don't feed it, it's going to go somewhere else. It's going to go find food somewhere else, somebody else to feed the thought. It's not going to make a home out of our home. That's literally what we do to ourselves. Is we just think, oh, this little bit of thinking that I'm going to add to that thought right there, it's harmless. No, because it just starts. It starts the whole process of feeding into the story and feeding into the thought and feeding into the negative experience and feeding into the traumas and feeding into the tragedies and any of it. And when we concentrate there, it does look like there's no way out. it looks like we're stuck. I've been here for X amount of years, so how am I getting out of here now? This is where I live. This is who I am. This is all of those things. It's an illusion. It's not true. And it only takes just the tiniest little glimpse for any of us to see that that's bullshit. The story's bullshit. Not saying things didn't happen, not saying circumstances didn't happen. I'm saying keeping them alive in the now is bullshit because it's not happening right now. I hope that made some sense.
It did. It did. Good.
And one thing I'd like to add, that's really important is you have to start looking at yourself and see that those thoughts, that trauma, that if you ripped it all away, you would still be here. Who you are, the essence of you, would still be here without all of that fog. And that's hard because, I mean, I identified with that thinking. I identified with those labels. I thought that everything that happened to me made me who I was. But what I found out is I am who I am despite everything that happened to me.
That's a good way of looking at things, actually.
And did they help mold me into the person I am? Yes. Yes, they did. But do they change the essence of who I am? It's they don't even touch it. And you have to start looking in that direction and see that for you. And then be able to see, oh, so at my core, I'm peace, love, and wisdom, and the ability to believe that I am not.
Love
That's
that.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. The ability to believe that I'm not. It's the same. It's like the ability to believe that we are not God acting as humans.
Yeah.
You know? And I love this because I've experienced this as well. Like, I've had trauma,
Yeah.
you know? And I say to you, like, I feel so free of it. It's so light. And it's because I have let go of the anger, let go of the betrayal, let go of all of it, because I know that it's not happening in this moment anymore. It's gone. It's done. And I genuinely have so much gratitude to everything that's happened to me in my life, because it has brought me here. It has shaped who I am as a person, and I wouldn't be here without that.
Yeah.
You know, and you're the same. You're this beautiful soul that you often do not see yourself because you think you're so broken, but you're not. You're not broken.
No. And you never were.
I have another story really quick.
Love
This is
stories.
unusual for Chrystal. The story hour with Chrystal. It's true. You're not broken. Let me tell you what I did to myself. And it probably started around middle school. Okay. I began to be so mean to myself, especially in the mirror. I didn't have to have a mirror, but especially in the mirror. And it didn't matter if I was in the best shape of my life. It didn't matter how great I looked that day. It didn't matter if I was in the worst shape of my life. I pulled myself apart. I terrorized myself multiple times a day
This
in
is
that mirror.
sorry to interrupt, because it feels like you are seeing inside my soul somehow. Sorry to interrupt there.
I know, I love what you just said because it just gave me goosebumps, because I'm going to show you where this story ends, and this is a very powerful thing for me. But I did. Okay, I believed all the bullshit. You're not good enough. You're a failure. Don't even fucking try. Because nobody's going to take you seriously. Who are you anyway? You're just a piece of whatever shit. You suck. Whatever I wanted to say to myself. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you wear that. I can't believe you cut your hair like that. I can't believe whatever it was, it didn't matter. I shredded myself to a point where I didn't even know what I was looking at sometimes. And after I saw differently, before I even knew what happened to me, after I saw differently, after I got a glimpse of the inside from seeing that, holy shit, it's true, my experience. One of the things that happened was I had been going in and out of my bathroom for like 3 days. And the third day, and it had a huge mirror, like the length of this bathroom, this big mirror. The third day, I stopped dead in my tracks. Dead in my tracks of I like literally grabbed the frame of the door and I said, wait a second. I haven't gone into that bathroom. I haven't stopped in front of that mirror for like 3 days now. And I haven't said anything to myself. That's not right. That's not who I am, because I do that every single day, multiple times a day. So let's go. And I literally took myself right back into that bathroom and in front of the mirror and said, let's have it. Let's hear it. What do we have to say today? And the most beautiful thing happened. For the very first time in my life that I could remember, there was nothing bad. I didn't even see this. What I saw in the mirror that day was my true essence, my soul staring back at me. And I was in awe. What felt like forever, but it was probably a few minutes. And just staring back into my soul and into my essence and thinking, how perfect and how beautiful. And since that day, I'm not saying I've never had a harsh thought about myself, but I'll tell you what, it's never been in a mirror ever again. And we're coming on almost 4 years. And let me tell you, I poke the bear. I will literally go in the bathroom and stand in front of the mirror just to see if there's something to say. No, it went silent. And every time I do look in a mirror, I do see just that soul. And it's like, oh my God, it's amazing and it's beautiful. And this is possible and available to everybody, because I promise you, when I say I was mean to myself, when I was a mean person, I was the hardest on myself, because I had been told from many people of what a letdown, what a failure. How could you waste your intelligence? How could you waste your life? How could you not do anything important? How could you not be somebody? And there's other things that came into that, play too over decades, but it's never happened again. And that is what's possible. That is what's available to everybody out there. Because if that can happen for me, that can happen for anybody. Just that easy. When we do say things fall away and dissipate, they absolutely do. And that is one thing, just like Jen, I was like, oh, bullshit. Things aren't going to fall away. We're not falling away.
Yeah.
And they did. And that was my biggest one that fell away. And a tremendous one. And I'm truly grateful for it. But I hope that it gives people hope to know that these things that we play in our head, these things of how mean we are to ourselves, without effort, can literally just go away. Because I tried to see if it was bullshit. I called it out and said, no way. Nope, let's hear it. And no, I still do it. Because even 4 years later, I'm still so very thankful, but sometimes there's a part of me that's just like, where'd you go? I'm not asking for it to come back, but it was that whole like, yeah, the whole bullshit in the beginning of things just don't fall away. They do. They
Yeah.
very much do. And there's no effort. I don't stop myself in the mirror. I don't go in the mirror and say, okay, don't say anything bad.
No.
No. I just do it.
Is
Yeah.
there anything you would like to ask? Is there anything burning on your mind or anything you would like to share that maybe you've seen?
Maybe like what's the first step? Because it feels like there's such a hill to climb.
Is there, or is that your thinking?
Thank you, Melissa.
Probably. Yeah.
When you look out, there's such a hill to climb. The step, I'm going to say get philosophical. Look at the possibility and look throughout your life how there's been times you've gotten that intuition and known to do something a certain way.
And she has intuition.
Okay.
Yeah.
And look at
Grateful.
how many different times throughout your life you've struggled with something and seen it horribly, and then you got a good night's sleep and you
Yeah.
woke up and it looked different, not because it changed, but because your mind is clearer.
Yeah.
The thing is, okay, there's these principles are at play, whether we acknowledge them or not. Knowing about them, all it's doing is letting us see how our realities, how our moment to moment experience is created, which means we can see, oh, we're made to go in a low mood, but we really shouldn't believe the thinking that's down there. We shouldn't engage with that. We shouldn't take that serious. That's a shitty committee and it's their job to try to pull us down. And when we're up and when we're clear, this is a good feeling. And I can make some good decisions from this feeling. Okay, it's not a magic solution to anything. It's just helping you understand how it works, how we as human beings work.
Yeah.
So that when we do what we are made to do, we don't get scared by it and overtaken by it and drag ourselves down further.
I think as well, it's also letting go of the judgment
Yes.
of ourselves, you know?
Yeah, you're human. You're supposed to have bad days. You're supposed to feel like shit sometimes, and you're supposed to not know what the fuck to do. That's part of the game. That's what we're here for.
And not holding on to it. If you have a bad day, don't hold on to it the next day.
Yeah.
You know, I had a bad day. Okay. Yeah. Let it go.
Right.
Yeah.
If you had a bad day, stop and ask yourself, did I have a bad day or did I have a bad few moments?
Yeah.
Well, and that's what we do too. A moment happens and it's not what we expected and it's not what we thought it would be. And we're like, well, fuck it. There goes the day.
Right. And then we put on these
a-
lenses of, oh, it's a
One
shitty
movie.
day.
Hey.
And that's what we see.
Yeah.
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 And I love, there was this lady that we were talking to and she had a beautiful, beautiful metaphor, Fenella. And it's like we're all standing in this room. You're standing in this room of a buffet. Okay. And on one end, you can have your sweets, the chocolates, and all that. On the other end, you can go all the way to the, some people like that sour, bland, and bitter stuff too. But this buffet that's set out in front of us, it's our emotions. Okay. It's all the different feelings that we get to feel. And it's okay if you're feeling a little salty that day and you want some salty stuff. And it's okay if you're feeling a little bit spicy that day and you want some spicy stuff. And it's okay if you want that sweet, sweet chocolate or I don't know if you're a chocolate lover, but I am, if everybody can't tell. But if you want that sweet, sweet chocolate, it's okay to indulge yourself in that sweet, sweet chocolate. Here's where we get lost. When we stand at one spot in that buffet and continue to eat that same thing until our stomach hurts, but we keep eating it anyway, as if we don't have another choice, as if there's not a whole buffet of feelings. If we just take a moment to just step back, give ourselves a little bit of space, give ourselves a little bit of a break, and say, you know what? So I've been eating from the poo-poo platter. Doesn't smell good, doesn't taste good. I think I'll move on. It's okay that I ate there for a minute, but I'm not going to stay there. I'm going to go try something else. I'm going to go indulge in something else and experiment around, because feelings are feelings and we're made to experience them, all of them. We get caught when we stand at that same spot in the buffet and think that there's not a whole array of food, a whole array of tastes and experiences to have, because there are so many more experiences than just the ones we get caught in, the negative ones. And I guess my whole point is it's okay to sometimes be sad, mad, angry, frustrated. It's fine, but move on. Take a few steps down the buffet and try something new.
Yeah. It's the resistance to it that keeps you there at that spot.
I was just going to say, it's really
Yes.
difficult to move on when you're busy trying to run life anyway. Having that space to be able to step away. Like, my mind doesn't work like that. I need to be able to I need a lot of fucking space to be able to move away from something that's ripping me in two. I find that quite,
Let me
difficult.
just point you some one tiny, tiny thing.
Go on.
I just heard a story you're telling yourself that your mind doesn't have that space, that it's going to be real difficult to get to that space and to make that space through all of that thinking that's going on that's so sped up.
Yeah.
It's going to have to slow it down. And I'm sure that there are times that you can think where you do something with no thought at all. Perhaps driving. You have to think about driving. Do you have to think about pushing the
No,
gas pedal and which way to go, and to, if it's a familiar road that you've driven down, do you really have to think about it?
no,
Do you ever find sometimes that you arrive at your destination, you're like, crap, I don't even remember the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes of my drive?
all the time. Yeah.
That right there points to the fact that you're not always busy in your mind. You do have the capacity to slow down and for the quiet, because right there is space. You're not thinking. You are in a different state of mind. And that right there should show you that it is 100% possible for you to achieve the thought of no thought. I don't know, the slowing down.
One thing that really, really helped me is when I started to accept the fact that if I let go of everything I was holding on to, I would feel content, peace, and joy. Because I called bullshit because I didn't know what that felt like because I had so much going on. No, you have to work for that. You have to strive for that. You have to go, 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 go to get that. But in the go, 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 you tear yourself down and bury yourself, and it's like, and when I started to entertain that maybe if I let everything go, my power just went out. So I don't know what.
You froze up, Jen. Melissa, do you have anything to say?
So I've just been enjoying like listening today. 'Cause I know normally I'm
Hi.
like the one butting in, but do you know what? It's been
Yeah.
lovely because you know, obviously she is one of my best friends. I love her to bits, and I thought this would be a really good opportunity to get her on and like have two different people from the same kind of understanding, but two different people. Because sometimes it's harder to listen to your friends, isn't it? You know,
Absolutely.
and the same with like when I was doing stuff, I couldn't listen to people. I had to go and listen somewhere else, and then they would say the exact same thing, but I would like, oh, I get it now. You know, same with kids. Kids do it all the time. You know,
Right. You can tell
But-
your kid not to do something, and they're like, yeah, whatever. Then their friends say it, and they're like, oh, do you want to hear what my friend told me? Because I told you that too. My gosh.
yeah. And yeah, I just think this is lovely. I mean, I had an experience just yesterday as well about the peace being under everything. And I went to the shopping center with my partner. And so normally food is a big issue for me. You know, I've
Mhm.
gone on this roller coaster with food up and down, you know, got skinny, got fat, got skinny, got fat. And obviously I've had that insight recently. Yeah, I had that insight recently, and I've lost like 11 pounds already, effortless. But I'm doing this new thing at the minute where I'm eating at 5 o'clock. But I'm giving myself like a 2 or 3 hour eating window. So it's like I'm having like all the food, but I'm fasting for the rest of it. And it was inspired thought, so I thought try it. And I'm actually really enjoying it. But we was at the shopping centre, and he said, "Oh, do you want to get a drink in Bill's? There's a restaurant." Now I'm hungry, really hungry. My stomach's gurgling, and I'm really hungry. Now before, there's no way in hell I would have been able to go into a restaurant when I'm hungry. You know, it
Mhm.
fucking torture. You know, to the point where when I was doing like bodybuilding, I went to birthday parties and I had to leave because there was cake on the table and biscuits and stuff like that. And I can't stay here. I couldn't go to the cinema because I was thinking about food. I couldn't go shopping because I was thinking about all the food stalls. You know, I was obsessed. And we go into this restaurant and I'm smelling the food. I'm seeing people eat. I'm hungry. And I just had this like nice little realization that popped to me. And I'm like, do you know
Sorry,
what?
guys. The
What the
transformer blew and all the power on my block went out.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, where was I? What was I saying? I lost my thought now.
The smell and everything.
Oh yeah, so I was smelling all the food, seeing the food, and I'm sat there, and the tea's coming, and I look up to Dave, and I've got water in my eyes, you know, as I normally always do, but I'm feeling this emotion, and I'm like, oh my god, I feel so peaceful right now. I would not been able to do this a couple of years ago. Like I would have been in torture. I would have just no, I can't do it. But now I'm still feeling the same as I would have done, exactly the same. I'm still feeling that level of hunger. But this time I just have this like, I'm not suffering. I am at peace with it. And I can sit here and people can come with their food. I can smell the garlic because I love garlic smelling. And I'm just sitting there so peacefully. And I'm literally like, I can't believe this. Like, and this is what is so beautiful about the three principles. Like you have these big insights and these little insights, and this little one just like it really made me like appreciate it. And I'm not a slave to my thinking. In that moment, I didn't feel like a slave, whereas before I was a slave. I was in that prison, you know. And I wanted to share that because I just thought it was such a beautiful kind of like little popcorn realization, and that's what you can have.
Yeah.
You know, if I can have that, you can have that.
I want it.
Yeah. You've got it. It's already there.
Yeah, it's already there. You already have it. You just start looking in the direction we're pointing. Start looking into the fact that I am life. You are life. You know what to do to survive. The only thing that gets in your way is you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
You are not your thoughts. Thoughts go through you. You are a space in which thoughts can be, but you are not them.
Okay.
That was my biggest thing. As soon as I was able to disidentify with all these thoughts that I thought was who I was, and see that I am the space in which the thoughts come through, then they didn't have the grip on me. I still have shitty
Okay.
thoughts. I still have bad thoughts, but now they're not truth. They're not going to ruin me. They're just, oh, I'm in low mood thinking it's creating me to feel this way, and that's okay. I don't have to fight it because I am more than this mood. This mood isn't who I am. It's all in how you identify and relate to your thinking. Once you can stop believing it to be truth and actually who you are, and realize you are not the thought, you are the thinker. So the thought doesn't define you because you are the one who has the thought. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's the noticing. That thought isn't who you are. That label isn't who you are. And know that when you let go of all of it, and that's the scariest part, because you don't know what's there, right?
Yeah.
So when you start to see, oh, it's peace and it's contentment and it's insight and wisdom and just this life. That's what's there when you let go of everything. And life knows how to move forward and will always move up. That's what I've found.
I wanted to say as well, there's this misconception that in order to feel peace, your mind has to be completely empty. And my mind is never completely empty, but I still got that peace. I still got that. It's like I get this clarity of mind while the thoughts are running around in the background.
Yeah.
So let go of thinking like, oh, I've got to be completely clear of thoughts.
Okay.
They can still be there. They can still be running around, but it's like you kind of separate from them. You, instead of being the thoughts, you're the watcher, like Jen was saying. And then when you're the watcher, you can then have clarity of thought while that's still going on.
Okay.
And it's a weird sensation to have how to explain it, but that's how I get it. It's like I'm coming out of the thought, but the thoughts are still going on, but I'm not. It's like there's a movie on in the background. Like you're in the lounge and there's a movie on, but we're talking.
Yeah.
But you're not paying attention to the movie. Yeah.
When we're in the thought and we think we are the thought, then we're that actor that the thought creates. We're that character. But when we can step out of that character and just be the watcher, then that shit can go on. Like I said, sometimes it feels like there's a roaring river of thought going through my head that's just loud. But I don't have to float that river. I can walk alongside that part. It can be going on, and I don't have to engage with it or believe it to be true or give it so much attention that I feel the need to argue with it. If you're walking into a store and there's someone that's just arguing with everybody, are you going to stop and have the conversation with them and just argue to argue? Or are you just going to walk by and let them keep going?
I was just gonna say, wow.
Well, see, I get a bunch of people around here that, stand in the street and talk to themselves and spend, there's just some times where you're just like, okay, that is not a stable thought and I will not engage with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're right. You're the observer. When we figure out we're the observer, it takes on a different form because, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I do get that, and I do feel like I'm the observer, but in a way that's kind of worse because I'm not really
You feel like you're not
I'm the
control.
target for this constant and this loud river like that you explained, that is continuous, whether I'm walking beside it or not. I can't explain what I'm trying to say.
Feel like your own mind's out to get you.
Yeah, and there's not even though I'm only observing, like it's still constantly attacking, if you know what I mean, in a way that you can't just, or I can't seem to just, I don't know.
It's
It's
still
I,
solid to
Yeah.
you. It's still solid to you very
yeah,
much. And you still believe it to be true, even if not all the way. You
yeah.
believe it says something about who you
Even
are.
if, like, I'm pretending to try and believe that it's not true. Does that
Yes.
make sense? I'm like pretending to try and believe that it's not.
So I want you to try to switch some vision there in your head because here's what I visualize what's going on that's kind of backwards in the observer position for you. To me, what I see is when you're describing is like a comedian or somebody like an amateur comedian on a stage. Okay. And up there doing their thing, and the audience, which they're observing, is judging their jokes, throwing the fruit at them or whatever, telling them they stink, telling them they're no good, telling them to get off the stage. You're on that wrong side. Go ahead, get off that stage and sit in the audience. And then whatever plays from there, that's you being the observer. I think you're kind of observing it the other way around. You are observing your thoughts, but you're observing your thoughts as they are vicious and attacking you,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
but not observing thought for just thought that can go right on by. You don't like that act that's up on the stage? Well, then tell them to go away and bring the next act on and see if that show is any better. That's where you do have the control of that part.
okay.
You have the control of what you're watching, what you're engaging with. It is in you. I know it feels like bullshit. I don't have control, but you absolutely do. You have the control, not of what thought comes in, but of which one of those am I really going to take seriously? Which one of those am I going to grab? Which show do I want to watch up on that stage?
Mm.
You're in charge of that.
Is it okay if I say one more thing? Because it keeps coming to my head. Have you ever watched The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, and you know how the wizard seems all powerful and does all these things and is so great and it's so real, right? Until the end, and they pull that curtain back. Thought is that Wizard of Oz. It looks so real and so solid and so like it is truth. But behind the curtain, it's just an illusion. But that's what makes it such a good illusion. And as you start to look at thought and see it not as that solid defining who you are, but it's just this floating, passing clouds, whatever, it starts taking the intensity away. The more you start to see thought and how it works, the constantly flowing, how it never stays the same, it starts taking the power it holds away. Because right now, when those heavy thoughts show up, it's like this thick black cloud, and you can't see through it. And you can cut through it, and it just repairs itself, right? And it seems like there's no way out. But when you start looking, you start to see the cracks in it. You start to see how it's more smoke and mirrors than anything. And so, yeah, my biggest suggestion is stop trying to figure out how to drop a thought. Find whatever works for you to step out of it. Like I said, I hummed a whole lot at first because that was the only way I could get out of it. You do whatever you do that helps you. And the humming also created a little bit of noise because the quiet was hard for me.
Yeah, I find the quiet hard.
It very hard. And you only
Yeah.
do
It doesn't have to be.
little bits at a time, because when you move into a brand new, big, fancy house, that first night staying there, it's going to be kind of scary because there's going to be noises and things that you're not used to. Anything unfamiliar is uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean we should keep ourselves stuck in the unhealthy and hurtful.
Miserable.
Yeah, miserable, because it's known.
I'm definitely going to try that, don't you worry.
My best advice, just don't try. Let it go. I know we have thrown so much at you.
Yeah.
And honestly, the words that we have said, they don't matter. Because whatever is supposed to, seeds are going to be planted, they're already planted. They've already made it in there. So what I'm saying is don't try to go in and force that seed to grow.
Okay.
Don't go in and say, ooh, more water, more light, more darkness, more this. Let it be. It can do it itself. It doesn't, wisdom, mind, all of it, it doesn't need our help. Sometimes that's where we do mess up. Sometimes that's where we have the most resistance, is because we think, oh, well, you know what? I'm just going to help it along. The more you try to help it along, the more it's like, maybe not. But it's there. I promise you. With as much as Jen and I and even Melissa have thrown at you,
Yeah, I'm
it's
sorry.
there. It will do its thing. It will do
No,
its
thank
thing.
you.
You just have to have a radical faith
Yeah.
and know you're perfect. No matter what this is telling you, you are perfect. You're beautiful, perfect, and love.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more special than that. And you'll feel it and you'll see it. And before you know it, that is exactly how you will describe yourself, because
Yes.
that is who you are.
Told you so.
Melissa, we don't want to listen to our BFFs, okay? Ever. We don't want them to tell us, because they are gaslighting us and they're full of it. But when it comes from strangers, I don't have a reason to lie to you. I don't have a
Neither
reason
do
to make.
I.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It sounded a little bad. Melissa doesn't either. But sometimes when it comes from the people that you don't know, it's a little bit easier to listen than
Yeah.
it is to our best friends or to
Family
our
or
whoever, our family. Thank you, Jen. Yeah.
I hope it was helpful.
So do I. So do I. But I think it will be. I'm definitely giving it a go. Or not. Actually, I'm not giving it a go. I'm just gonna let it.
I think that's it as well. Like we live in a society that's like do. I've got to do something. What do? I need to do something. Otherwise, I feel like I'm not doing anything and it's not going to work. Like I struggled with that so long. I had to have step 1, step 2, step 3. No, what do I do now? And sometimes I still struggle with it. You know, I still struggle with letting go and just not doing anything because it makes you feel like you're being lazy.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Every
you're fit. Yeah, and then you're like, oh, my partner's going to be judging me, or blah blah's going to be judging me, you know. But no, it is just that faith and the letting go and not being hard on yourself, not judging yourself. If you have a bad fit, so fucking what?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
You're
I had a bad
human.
day, so what?
You're human. You're supposed to fuck up. You're supposed to have a bad day. You're supposed to feel sad and angry and get caught up by your thinking. That's part of the game. That's what we're here for. So when it happens to you, oh, fucking well. Don't stay stuck in that, you know? Oh, I'm human. Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's that stubbornness as well. Like for me, it was like I used to hold on to my moods. I used to hold on to anger, which I know you do. And like the other day, I was telling you, I had that absolute flip out with my bikini. And then I come down, sat next to Dave, and I said, I know that I could drop this, but for some reason, I don't want to drop it. I want to hold on to it. He's like, just drop it. And just like that, I was like, okay. I gave myself like a couple breaths and I was like, okay, I'm ready to drop it. And I just dropped it.
Yeah.
I just let it go. I didn't need to hold on to it anymore.
Mm.
I said, okay, I've dropped it. But years ago, I'd be like, I would have held on to that for fucking the rest of the day and the day next day.
Yeah.
But it's okay to drop it. Like sometimes we feel like we've started a mood or we've started something and then we have to follow through with it.
Yeah.
But we have no obligation to be who we were 5 minutes ago.
No. The
That's
whole
beautiful.
goal is become more childlike. You know, I was around my cousin's 2-year-old last weekend, and this kid, oh my, running in the yard, soccer ball to the face, down on the ground, cry, cry. Oh, I'm okay. Let's play. That's how we're set up. To be curious, content, happy, joyful. That's our default. Look at any child.
And resilient.
And resilient. Yes, we are made to bounce back. We're made for shit to happen to us and to bounce back. That's what we're here for. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And realizing that none of it defines who we are.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah,
this.
we should give her a break. I love the look on her face right now. Just
I know. I feel like this is a real good spot.
Yeah. Good. Definitely feel better than when I come in. So that's good.
Good.
oh,
Glad I made you come on now.
Yeah.
I'm very glad you came on. This has been wonderful.
Thank you for having
yeah.
me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being brave and being on here with us. I absolutely adore that. I was so excited. And I was like, oh, please let her say yes.
Yeah, it was
So
probably,
thank you.
yeah, it was good. Thank you.
All right. Well, So thank you for watching. It's okay to be okay. Thank you for coming on, and like, share, comment, and subscribe. And please know we're here. So if anybody needs to reach out, you can reach out to any one of us. We are here all the time. Thank you.
See you later.
Namaste.